There's 4 stages of system change. There's the growth. So let's think about a forest. So how do forests start? You have the saplings, and then there's this growth phase, and then there reaches an equilibrium where the forest is stable and it can stay like that for a long time. But then maybe the resilience starts dropping. So we've got the growth, the stable phase, and then we've got the decay phase, where maybe there's a fungus or a disease going through the forest as some of the trees die, which means that then there's the higher risk of a fire. So that release phase, it's called in systems theory, decay phase, the resilience starts going down, and then there can be a snap moment where like a huge forest fire takes place. If the forest was more resilient, there wouldn't be the dead wood there, and so the forest fire wouldn't continue. So the decay was needed for that big transformation. So yeah, decay, then release. But then we know that actually fires in forests, they do create new life. They burn away the old, and that makes space for the new. And so fires are a part of the natural ecosystem. So there are the 4 stages of system change: growth, stability, release, and then transformation. And then the new system grows, reaches an equilibrium. So as we are all feeling, we're going through this release phase, we're going through a decay in the stability of our systems. And, there's been chaos throughout history and throughout life. And, many people would think, well, we live in the most interesting of times. As the Chinese proverb says, may you live in interesting times. And maybe each generation says, no, really, this is the worst it's been. This is seriously interesting times. And, our generation's not any different. What is different, though, is ecology. It's like before, the challenges of humanity would affect a kingdom, a province, a country. Like the Mongols invading your town and slaughtering everyone. I say that with a smile on my face. This is end of the world for that community, right? Having a warring tribe come and slaughter everyone. And, that feels like the end of the world. And for that community, it is. But human power for so many generations was not big enough to affect the whole planet. But now we are affecting the whole planet. We're transforming the atmosphere, warming up the whole planet. And there's now as much carbon dioxide in the atmosphere as there was when there were crocodiles in the North Pole, when there were dinosaurs roaming. And that's the trajectory that we're going towards if we don't change our course. And that's because of all the fossil fuels, as you know, that we're putting into the skies. So we are now powerful enough to transform the whole planet. And so suddenly the challenges of our times and the systems that shape our worlds, that, previously injustice and warfare, slowly but surely there were definite signs of progress, like more and more people getting the vote, women getting the vote, LGBT communities getting rights. It was only 60 years ago that it was illegal to be gay in the UK, 70 years ago. So, we have made a lot of bounds in the care that we feel for our fellow human beings and the compassion that we meet the world in. But also the systems that shape our world are destroying our ability to live on our planet. So we are going through this decay phase. And indeed, it will be system change where the old systems that shape our world are no longer serving us and new systems will need to be found. And that's for us to work out, like all of us together. And the interesting thing about this system change is it is bigger than any one of us. A quote I love from Thich Nhat Hanh is, the next Buddha will be a Sangha. So a Sangha is a community. The next Buddha, the next being that helps bring humanity into the next level of consciousness will be a community. It's much bigger than you or I. And the solutions are going to take a whole movement of people to find that out. In some ways, it's exciting. Obviously, it's a privileged thing for me to say that's exciting, given, what's happening in Gaza and around the world, and the pain and suffering and so many people are experiencing, and the injustice of the systems that are currently running our world. But also the great potential that we have now, an interconnected world, connected through the internet. And like a forest fire does just suddenly burn a forest down that was stable for hundreds of years in a couple of days, system change can be very quick. A quote I love about hope, which really helps me hold on to hope, is that hope is not a state of the world. It's a state of mind where we work towards something that's valuable in itself, not just because it's likely to happen. So normally, we feel hopeful if something's likely to happen. I hope it will happen. It's likely to happen. But the hope that really is going to help us stay resourced through the chaos that's going to continue to come until we trust that there'll be some change on the other side, is that hope is not a state of the world, it's a state of mind where we work towards something that's valuable in itself, not just because it's likely to happen. So the beauty of the human spirit, the potential that you and I have, the potential that all of us have as human beings for learning, for forgiveness, for healing, and that comes from learning about ourselves. The journey that you're taking and that I'm taking to maybe meditate and to sit quietly and find out, who am I? Who am I in the midst of all of this? And to explore ideas, ancient and modern, to help us understand ourselves. And to realize when we read ancient ideas that so long as we've been human, we've been asking these questions about who we are. And the answers, a lot of them haven't changed. And so then that can give us a sense of grounding. That, this is bigger than me, and this is called being human, and yet there is great potential that I have when I really understand myself and I put time into developing my abilities to understand myself and communicate myself with skill and compassion, and then maybe if I feel called to stepping into community and to contribute to the flourishing of life and meeting our deep needs for meaning and connection as we do that.